Welcome to You, Me, Empathy, a safe place for leading with your heart. Hey, thanks for being here. You, Me, Empathy is the official podcast of the Feely Human Collective, a collaborative mental health community designed to empower each of us to grow our capacity for empathy, vulnerability, and emotional wayfinding. Just a friendly reminder that this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. No one is just a silly boy with a feely heart. You can support the show by leaving a review in Apple Podcasts, following us on social media at Yumi Empathy and Feely Human, and joining the Feely Human Collective community at feelyhuman.co. And now your host, Known Wells.
Hello, Feely Humans. Welcome to another episode of You, Me, Empathy. My name is Known Wells. I am the creator and host. I'm also the founder of the Feely Human Collective, where we can collectively grow our capacity for empathy, vulnerability, and emotional curiosity. Learn more about that and connect with us at feelyhuman.co. This is episode 211 on the connectivity of food with my dear pal, Alexandra Katona. In this episode, Alex and I explore the ways in which we've changed since our youth, nurturing independence in our kids, death anxiety after losing a parent, and the magical ways in which food connects us. So much goodness in this episode. I really enjoyed connecting with my friend Alexandra. Really cherish her vulnerability here and talking about losing her father and talking about infertility, in celebrating her beautiful new book, Dinner on Domingos, which you can get right now anywhere you get books. A place I highly recommend you get your books is your local independent bookshop. Local to me is the wonderful bookshop Arvida Book Company in Tustin, California. If you don't have a local independent bookshop, a great resource is bookshop.org. If you go to bookshop.org and order Dinner on Domingos through that site, it supports local bookstores to you. So I highly recommend the book. We talk a lot about it in this episode. It's beautiful. It's lovely. If you have kids, if you have nephews and nieces and little critters in your life, it's a beautiful book about connection and food and culture and heritage and language. I highly recommend it. It's called Dinner on Domingos. There is a link in the show notes for this episode at feelyhuman.co. Before we get to the episode with Alex, I wanted to just remind you all that so this past Friday was the official kickoff of the emotional check-in series for Feely Human I'm doing. It's a monthly, the third Friday of every month, we gather, Feely Humans from across the globe gather to get feely and to get deep and to connect. And our first session was beautiful. And I'm so grateful for all the Feely Humans who showed up in their wholeness and felt safe enough to do so, because we all collectively decided upon and will continue to decide upon, because there's no finish line, what safe means for us collectively and how that feels. And it was just lovely. It couldn't have gone better. I'm so grateful for all who did show. And I just wanted to share with you, if you're looking for some place to feel seen and heard in your beautiful wholeness, in your humanity, I recommend you show up. You missed the first one, that's okay. The next one is next month. Again, it's the third Friday of every month. If you sign up today, it's $120 for the year. You get 11 sessions. So hope you can sign up. That's at feelyhuman.co. If you click the top banner there, you can learn more about what the emotional check-in series is. And a couple other things coming up. February 6th, we have the next grief and writing workshop called As We Carry On, led by Katie Huey. If you're someone who is experiencing some grief, I highly recommend this workshop. Katie is a dream. It's really, really powerful workshop. 90 minutes where it's interactive. It's all about self-compassion and exploring grief through writing. And then the last thing, on February 20th, I am leading an in-person my Illustrating Empathy workshop I'm leading in person at Arvida Book Company in Tustin. I mentioned them before. Arvida is owned by Sam. I met Sam just this past week in person. She's lovely, wonderful, so generous with her heart and her space and her time. And I am going to be selling some Feely Human stuff there in the near future, hopefully. But also on February 20th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, if you're local to Southern California, I would love to see you there. I'm going to be starting to do some more marketing and sort of promo of this this workshop at Arvida, but hope you can be there. That's just something to note and to write down, and I'll have more info soon. February 20th in Tustin, California at Arvida Book Company. Okay, let's get to the episode, shall we? This wonderful episode with my wonderful friend, Alexandra Katona, on the connectivity of food.
La la la, you, me, empathy, yeah, la la la.
Welcome to You, Me, Empathy, the official podcast of the Feely Human Collective. On this show, we explore the struggles, the triumphs, the brights and the darks we face as humans trying to get by on this wondrous and overwhelming pale blue dot. The intent of You, Me, Empathy is to talk openly without judgment about our mental health, our neuroses, our shared anxieties and worries, to create a dialogue that is vulnerable and deeply human and empathetic, and to share that dialogue with others to inspire emotional and cognitive collaboration and insight, so we can, hand in hand, break down the stigma that make us feel shame and guilt for struggling, for feeling our feelings, for being Feely humans. You, Me, Empathy is a safe, friendly space designed to inspire the beauty in each of us. Today, I am overjoyed to be here on Lunes with my sweet friend and author of the brilliant and beautiful and oh so delectable new picture book, Dinner on Domingos. It's Alexandra Katona. Hello.
Hey, Noan, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, so happy to see you, friend. So happy to have you here. Loved your picture book. We'll get into your picture book, Dinner on Domingos. But first, let's do an emotional check-in. Okay. How are you feeling?
I am feeling tired today. The holiday weekend, and we hosted Friendsgiving. No one was there. Just tired. The holidays are wonderful. I actually don't have much drama around them, which is super nice. And I'm still tired. So just a lot of food and family and friends. And I honestly can't complain. I just took a big nap yesterday.
Excellent. We need rest. We need rest.
We do. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Yeah. Also, a bit tired. Alex knows this, but maybe the listeners don't yet. Over Thanksgiving, we lost power for about 2 days. And that was, it's something that can happen, and it's stressful, and it can happen because we're in sort of fire zone, as you know, Alex. But it was also a good lesson, and it allowed us to go see Josh and Becca. We went and cooked over there and then brought the food back, and the food turned out great. We got to see Jessica's parents, Rich and Cynthia, and that was lovely. And so I'm tired, and I'm feeling grateful.
It's nice, kind of force some get-togethers in the best possible way.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed your Friendsgiving. That was fun. I'm an introvert, so large groups of people tend to be a little draining for me sometimes, and I was admittedly a little bit anxious, specifically going into a situation where I would see like Brian and Mike for the first time in like decades.
I hadn't
or at
realized
least
it
a
had been
decade.
so long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Kyle was telling me.
So that was like I was a little nervous about that because I'm wondering if you can relate to this, but and maybe this is just my sensitivity, but you go into a situation like that, and in my head, I'm like, well, they remember me as this person, right? Who's
Mhm.
much younger than I am today. And how will that be now that I'm like a new person and very different, And like, do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
ever feel that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually have the opportunity to run into many people from high school.
Right.
I didn't grow up in Southern California, so that literally never happens to me. But there was just our 20-year reunion was on Saturday, which obviously I didn't go to. But it is weird thinking about like the people we've become and transformed into, and how that either meshes or doesn't mesh with who your friends used to be.
Mm,
I worry about it a bit, but I don't think I've transformed too much. Like, I don't think my transformation is like yours in that sense.
mm,
Just for better or worse, I think I've always kind of been more of a, I don't know how to put it, like extroverted, but I do feel like I am getting a little bit more introverted as I get older. Like, I do like the rest and the downtime.
yeah.
And I have changed in terms of my perspectives and stuff. So I do worry about more like clashes in terms of like beliefs,
Mm,
definitely from like older friends.
yeah.
But I
How do you
totally,
think
yeah.
how do you think you've changed from like maybe high school Alex to now, what are you, 38, 39?
39, yeah. I'll
39?
be 40 next year. I think I'm definitely, I just am so much more, I feel like open-minded and educated. And what I knew, from high school, going to a big liberal college, changed a lot of my viewpoints. And so I grew up in a pretty white, not too diverse community. And then going from that to like college, which was very diverse and large and fun. And I mean, I did have like several friends from my hometown who were Indian, and I learned so much from them, and thankful for that. But just a whole new world, opening up people from all over the world, and new cultures, new languages, new takes, new perspectives. It totally changed everything. I took a lot of social justice classes. I majored in environmental studies. I just learned about the world. I traveled a
Yeah.
lot in my 20s. So I just want to say I just gained a lot of perspective. I learned a new language. So I just feel like I am very different in terms of my thinking and perspective. But from the outside, I probably look like, I don't look the same, but act kind of similar.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, and that's what sort of perspective and experience can do, right? Is to get us out of our own sort of little bubbles and to see
Mm-hmm.
how the world could be or how other people live. And
Yeah,
that's a big piece of empathy, right? As you know.
totally. Yeah. Super grateful to have those opportunities of travel and through work, seeing the way different people live and how even like our purchasing decisions greatly affect people. Like coffee definitely taught me that early on. And that has transformed to other parts of, my buying power. So
Yeah.
it definitely, I definitely feel strongly about those types of justices. So
Yeah, I know you do. So let's rewind a bit. What was your childhood like?
um, I have to first start off by saying I have very terrible memories. Like not
Okay.
terrible, like I only remember bad memories. Like my brother
Your
tends to remember
memory,
like
you're like a
my memory's
goldfish.
faded. Yes. Hopefully not as bad as a goldfish. But it's not great. Like people will tell me things and I'll be like, I don't really remember that day. I think I got hit in the head too much playing sports. I did have a bad concussion in 2018, which hasn't helped. And maybe I just wasn't designed to have the best memories. I feel like some people have wonderful memories and can such vivid, like you can remember the smells of certain days. I'm not
Yeah,
that. I wish I were better.
I'm not that person either.
Especially for writing, it would make it so much
Oh my
easier.
gosh, yeah.
um, but my childhood was fun. I remember it being fun, but also challenging. We moved a lot. My dad worked for Ford, was constantly getting promoted. So I was born in Michigan, and then we moved to the East Coast for a while. And I remember constant, like all the holidays involved road trips. Cause like in the Midwest, people are like, or on the East Coast, people are like, oh, it's only a 14-hour drive. And you're, let's
I
just
didn't know
drive.
you lived on the East Coast. Whereabouts?
I did. We lived in New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts.
Oh, all right.
So I lived there until I was in 5th grade, and then I moved back to Michigan. So I just the move from Jersey back home was tough. I actually loved Jersey. I was also the oldest, when you move, and I had made really wonderful friends.
Yeah.
I remember just being really mad at my dad for moving again. But overall, my childhood was great. It was full of forts and outside and running in the woods and checking for ticks. And
oh my God, the tick check.
Tick check. So many tick checks. I had all sorts of ticks on me all the time. I was always outside. Involved a lot of sports. It was my brother and I a lot of the time, because we had moved and we would make up. Back then we didn't have like tons of screen time or video games, so we always talk about this one game. Like we would have so much fun with a tennis ball. And we would just play this game where you whack this tennis ball and we had like 2 doorways, and you have to try to get it in between. It was very simple, lasted a long time.
Oh, yeah. I relate to that so hard. You're like resurfacing a memory where my brothers and I played, because we didn't have like video games or even cable TV. We would play this game called Tripper Ghost, where one of us puts a blanket on our heads and the other 2 just try to trip them. That was basically that, which is so ridiculous. But we just did it for hours. I know, exactly, right? Hence my goldfish memories.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. My dad used to do stuff like that. My dad would put his jacket over his head and walk home from school. And he did actually get a concussion walking home for lunch one day.
Oh my goodness.
He was falling asleep at lunch because he had hit his head on a car with a jacket over his head and didn't want to tell his mom.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, like it was so like I feel like you could have so much fun with a stick or like a ball back then, and that was my child. I spent a lot of time outside. A lot of people said when the lights came on, you go inside and have dinner and stuff, and I was always outside in forts, making forts. We had in our house in Jersey, we just backed up into an open field with woods behind it, and we would go back there. Me and my friend Nina, man, we'd be gone.
I love that.
Yeah, that independence I'm struggling with nowadays with my own kid. Trying to nurture that sense of independence and making mistakes and learning from them without having adults around. It's tough, especially in Southern California, where there's a lot of people and there's a lot of hovering, because I feel like we don't get the opportunity to let our kids roam as much. We get in trouble.
Yeah, it's interesting because I also, like you, had a lot of independence, and I think it's because I think it's for different reasons. Like I think my parents just like cared less, and I wanted to get out of the house because I didn't want to be near them. But it's independence, and it's also, I think it fostered some wonder and curiosity and critical thinking and just sort of being in the world and trying to sort of navigate it in a way that felt achievable. But yeah, but I was also like a white kid in Southern California, so it felt safe and comfortable in that way. So I was in my own bubble of that, of that experience, that homogenized experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting though, how much you learn. Like, I don't know. I felt deeply connected to nature, and I have to assume it was because we spent so much time outside. I still feel very connected, and I feel like that's my safe space. Just like being outside and, playing in leaves or in snow or in forts, climbing trees. I still enjoy climbing trees.
Same. Me too. Give me up a tree anytime. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. I just hope this, these generations feel as connected as we do. Because I don't think they're spending as much time outside. So, I don't know. I don't know. I get worried for all sorts of reasons. But my childhood was full of nice, fun memories outside and full of Disney movies. Man, now that I look back on these Disney movies, I'm like, The Little Mermaid sends the worst message.
Terrible message.
So bad.
Basically the patriarchy personified.
Like, just give up your voice for this dude you don't know, for legs you don't even know what to do with. Like, oh man, watching some of these movies with my kid now has been like, what the heck? Like,
has it been an opportunity to talk to Isaac about maybe it could be done this way or whatever?
100%. Yeah. Like watching these 80s, 90s movies, a little horrifying also. Like Back to the Future has some horrifying elements in it. John Malarkey has a great bit about it. But like...
Did you say John Malarkey?
No, Mulaney. John
Mulaney. I think you said John Malarkey. I'm like... Perfect comedian's last name.
Malarkey. Sorry, Mulaney. I knew when I said that it didn't sound right. Mulaney has a great bit about like how wildly inappropriate the whole like storyline is. But then I watched it with Isaac and I was just like, holy shit. Like I have to, no.
I mean, that's, I guess sort of the blanket name for that is progress, right?
Totally.
Like I remember a few years back rewatching the movie Overboard with Jessica and a couple of friends. And I remember loving that movie as a kid, you know, Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell. Mm-hmm. And it's rapey. It's like, it's problematic. I mean, I think I can sort of like step outside of that perspective. It's like, oh, they're married and they like, but like in real life, right?
In real life,
still like the story is like, oh,
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's a good word for it. Progress. I'm very for progress. So when you do watch the older movies, it is uncomfortable and you're like, yeah, that's not going to be shown again here. We're not going to do that one again.
Yeah.
Just too much to explain. It's not fun when you have to pause it and be like, okay, here's why this scene, is a little inappropriate.
Totally.
Yeah. It makes it not as entertaining. Yeah, for sure.
So were your parents also sort of like outdoorsy or were they just kind of encouraging of that?
It's weird. I always thought we like camped a ton growing up, but we really only camped like once, maybe twice. We always did a Memorial Weekend camping trip. My dad had really good high school friends. And so we always went camping on Memorial Weekend. And it was like the time of everyone's lives. Tons of kids, tons of adults having fun. Like my dad would always play this Frisbee game with his friends and we would always just run around the campgrounds. We used to go to Canada. And there was this awesome campground on Lake Michigan. And it was wild. It was just so much fun. But looking back on like we didn't really take many camping trips. I think my mom has always enjoyed being like hiking, being outside, but we really didn't do a ton of those growing up. My dad was traveling a lot for work, and I think it was probably stressful for my mom to have two very active children to take care of a lot of days, like, on her own. Yeah. So I don't have like super vivid memories of like being outside with them a lot. Sure. Except like with my brother, when we used to live in Massachusetts, we lived behind another forest and there was a reservoir in the back and there was bullfrogs back there. And so I have a lot of memories of me and my brother exploring and playing with the neighbors' dogs because we never had a dog. So we would always ask to play with neighbor dog. I'm obsessed with dogs. Always wanted some. And so I remember playing with like Molly. We used to call her Molly the rock dog. We would throw a rock super far and she would come back an hour later with the same rock. And just those memories I feel like I have, but not a lot of like trips involving nature, I guess. A lot of weekends and those types of moments.
Hearing you describe these memories, it feels nostalgic to me. Like it feels like, because like when I think of childhood, that is the thing sort of I latch on to, is these sort of like wild, adventurous, like me trying to be like Calvin and Hobbes, just like romping in the woods. And I think you're right. I think it's hard to do that in sort of a urban oasis such as Southern California. Mm-hmm. How are you finding pockets? Because like it's one hand, it's like the access. Like one hand's like, let's go into the woods physically.
Right.
And the other is like mindset and perspective. Like, how are you fostering that in your family?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question, because it's something you have to be super conscious of, and on a weekly effort, making sure that you're fostering it, because it's not like you can just be like, go out and play in the woods.
Right.
So
there's no bullfrogs in your backyard.
Oh, unfortunately not. As you know, we go surfing every Sunday. So the ocean is like a huge part of, I feel like, why our family lives here, but it's a huge draw for us. If our family weren't here, I think we'd still probably stay because we love the ocean so much. And so fostering that love of the ocean to me feels like more of an open area where I don't feel so claustrophobic. I love swimming in the ocean. I've been swimming all year in the ocean for several years now, and it's been like deeply therapeutic. And my son loves it. We just get him thicker wetsuits and hoodies, and he's been going with us all year, which has been a surprise. I didn't know if he'd go. It's been dropping under 60 degrees, and he'll still cruise in. So the ocean has been a part. We go for hikes, even for walks around the neighborhood. I still feel like anytime you're outside and looking at bugs and trying to catch lizards is a constant. I think he tried to catch lizards all summer last year. And so that's definitely something I'm always thinking about, is like, how can we get, somewhere in nature, even if it's a park or a hiking trail. Although hiking trails sometimes to me are so crowded, some spots, that it's like you're trying to dodge mountain bikers and all this stuff. So it kind of, for me, defeats the purpose some days. But yeah, just being super conscious of like getting into those spaces, I feel like is something that I have to think about on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Getting to the ocean, getting to just a space outside.
Yeah.
And my kid, I have to say, is pretty good at, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So he's pretty good at entertaining himself outside, because we've done it, we do it so much.
Yeah, you're creating that consistency for him. And he's like, oh, I feel safe in this environment. I can show up in whatever way feels comfortable to me. I can explore. You're fostering that. That's wonderful.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I stopped bringing beach toys a long time ago. I hate them because they're plastic, and half the time I see people walk away and they just
leave them,
go right into the ocean. But also, there's so many fun things to play at the ocean, within the ocean, around the ocean, that I feel like those are a huge distraction. So we stopped bringing those many years ago, and we have not missed them. We'll bring a boogie board or a surfboard now, but that's about it.
Yeah, a lot could be said about the space itself, and then your imagination.
Yeah,
just run with it.
Yeah, totally. Making even like sand forts and rock castles and whatever. I didn't grow up by the beach, so I feel like for me, I'm re-experiencing this childhood of a beach childhood, which is, we used to go to the beach in Jersey, but I mean, Jersey Beach is
Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore. Yeah, not the same.
No.
So it's been fun to experience that again too.
That's wonderful. Yeah. The ocean and sort of being in nature for me, and I'm wondering if it's the same for you, it's humbling. It's like, it's an experience that reminds me that I am sort of connected, but also like a very small part of like a giant world, right?
100%. Yeah, I feel you so hard on that. Yeah, just being in the ocean, you're a tiny, like a little speck. And I don't know if you enjoy surfing like this. For me, I've picked up on it, and I've really enjoyed the fact that it's super unpredictable. Like, I know you grew up playing sports, and they're always like very predictable fields, right? You have a soccer field or a basketball court or whatever, right? And that's doesn't change. I think what's been super interesting about surfing for me is that I don't call the shots at all, right? So you're waiting and you're listening, and it's been really calming for me to slow down and just figure out when's a good time to take a wave and to listen. And I think I love how unpredictable it is, and how it's all part of nature, just like letting me know. I think that's what's so cool about surfing.
Yeah, I really love that perspective. That's really beautiful. It's like, because you're right, a soccer pitch or a baseball field or whatever, it's you know what it is, right? And the ocean is an unpredictable thing, and let's extend that metaphor further. So is life.
Yep.
So is living,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's unpredictable. It's changing. It's messy. You don't know what's going to happen. You do have to listen. You do have to be curious and pay attention. Yeah, I love that a lot. That's great. Yeah,
It's
I do like
definitely helped
surfing.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel that way? Is that?
I do feel that way, and I do love to be out there. I think I stopped for a long time because it's so interesting. Like I was reflecting on this just yesterday, just about sort of the culture of winning and doing and achieving and crushing and killing, like all this language we use in so many spaces that feels, I like, in reflecting back on my sort of experience playing sports, like even within sports, like I felt uncomfortable with it. Like it was always something like, I want to have fun and play, and like, yeah, I'll like take it seriously, and it's fun to like do well. But like ultimately I never cared about winning or losing. I just wanted to like enjoy the experience. And I didn't.
Even in high school?
Even in high school. Yeah. Okay. And I think you get caught up in sort of the culture of like, we have to win and we're number one, all this stuff. And like, you get caught up in it and you have to be part of the team. So you play along a bit, but like, if I had my way, I would have just been, let's just be here and let's be supportive of each other and let's have fun. And we could take it seriously too, but also it's just a fucking game, like at the end of the day. And like, I've been thinking more and more about that lately, because just in life, right? Like I get emails in my spam inbox that say like 10 things to do to win at life in business. I'm like, I don't want to win. Why do we have to win? There's an implied loser. What's wrong with losing? Like there's such this like this emphasis on like winning. So I bring that up
Ted Lasso here. I love
right?
it.
I know.
Yeah.
I love Ted Lasso, but the culture of surfing, I remember, like felt a little bit too aggressive to me, felt a little bit too like territorial to me, felt like in my soul, surfing was like, I am one with Mother Nature. I'm here to sort of allow myself to kind of be in this space and to go wherever she takes me, right?
Yeah.
That's how I felt and still feel. But like I didn't, I think when I started to feel those things, when I first got into surfing, I didn't have the self-esteem or the armor or the protection of like, or sort of ownership of my own self and awareness of my own self to really know what to do with those feelings. And now that I'm in, and I don't let them sort of really bother me. Yeah. Even though those feelings do creep up, I'm like, you're fine. Like nothing's going to happen. But yeah.
It's kind of like the Rob Machado versus Kelly Slater outtake, right?
Interesting.
Where Rob, I don't know tons about either of them, but from what I know, Rob seemed like a much more laid back, wanted to surf because he like genuinely loved surfing and being part of the ocean. That's how I always understood Rob Machado. And then you have Kelly Slater, the GOAT, but a deep, deep desire to win and be a champion, and still has that.
Yeah.
And so I do think it is about outlook, and at the end of the day, if winning all the time, and I know he lost friends, right? I watched that that documentary about it. But if that's what you want to do and that's what makes you happy, I'm definitely like not judging you. And I do think champions have like a very specific mentality.
Yeah.
I've never had that either. I do enjoy winning. My family will tell you I'm extremely competitive, but it's not going to like ruin my day. And I am like trying to, be more laid back as I get older, because I have a child who really doesn't enjoy sports, which has been funny because, my husband, Kyle.
Yeah. How has that been? Isaac not being in sports.
It's like super hilarious because early on, and I think it makes life a lot easier for parents to realize that you are not leaving a legacy. This child is their own human. They are their own entity, and they love things. And sometimes it's not something that you like, and that's wonderful because it opens you up to a whole new world of possibilities and love for something you maybe didn't ever take a close look at. So for me, it's been really actually entertaining to have a child who, and not pushing them into organized sports and, the whole burnout and like losing Saturdays and Sundays, having more family time has not been horrible. I mean, he swims, he likes swimming. So we've been focusing on that. But it's not a total time suck. And we do only have one kid. So it makes life certainly easier to slow down on the weekends.
Yeah.
But it's just been like just trying to raise a child who has their own interests and deep desires, and just putting a sense of like love in them is just like my only goal. I just want a kid who is not a dick. Like, just be kind. Yeah. If you're kind, then and if you're kind and following your own passions, then I've won.
Yeah. That's wonderful. I mean, I think that's how parents, friends, etc. Like that's the perspective, right? Because like, we're roughly the same age. You grow up in a time where like you do the sport because that's the sport of the family, or you do the sport because that's what your sibling did, or that's the sport the dad played or the mom played or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And for me at least, there felt like less wiggle room for like space to just explore and like try new things, and I'm probably misremembering that, and I think I enjoyed playing soccer, but like I also reflect, I'm like, like I would have been a great dancer or piano player or whatever, right? And it's a tough. I'm not a parent, so I'd imagine it's maybe it's not. Maybe I'm putting that on you. Is it tough to like just allow him to sort of be, and then also sort of like make sure he's safe and all that stuff?
Yeah. Sometimes I think it's tough when a society always wants like winning or competition, or I feel like so many kids are either in soccer and or basketball and or baseball. Like it seems like everybody is going down that path, which I don't judge. I mean, I know this is what we do, but I think
Judge them, Alex. Judge them. No, I'm just kidding.
I think having an only child is really interesting to me because there's no like birth order passions, right? So if your older brother likes baseball or your older sister likes softball, whatever, like you tend to gravitate toward that, right? Yeah. So I think what's interesting, and this wasn't our plan to have one kid, but here we are, that he is really like deciding he's going down his own path, which I think is actually really cool. There's no huge outside influence in terms of like, yeah, I mean, his cousins like baseball or whatever, but he is really not easily influenced, which 95% of the time is great. So I think I really love that about him, is that he is really like fiercely his own person. He's creative. I feel like much more so than I ever was growing up, in that sense of just his imagination is wild. Maybe mine was, I just maybe don't remember it, but it's wild. Just being lost in it for so long.
So important.
Yeah.
And I think it does go back to the winning and the sort of the system of, let's call it internalized capitalism, the production, the doing. Yeah. We need to be more and do less, right? So like the being of like Isaac, sort of like allowing him to have space and the freedom to like be in his head and to use his imagination to be creative. Like kids and humans need that space. Yeah.
I mean, do you find like when you're writing, like how do you find that space for yourself? Is there someplace you go, or like, is it maybe you write a lot in your head while you're hiking, or like, what does that look like for you?
Well, first of all, this is my podcast. How dare you ask me questions? Second of all, yes, happy to answer. You're very generous. It's I like a bit of chaos. I like to the point where I think I take it too far. So yesterday I was reflecting with Jessica on, she was like, you hike a lot and sort of are off on your own a lot in the woods. And I'd really like you to like make sure you have a plan for when you and if you encounter a mountain lion.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
so
fair.
it is fair, totally fair. But my instinct is like, how dare you? I've never like so the reality is I've experienced one mountain lion in my 30 plus years of hiking and running in the woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it happens it happens, right? It
Yeah.
happens, and so like I could sort of I can sort of take that extra step toward her, meet her in the middle, and say, yeah, I'll look it up. My instincts were right, to be clear. Just to make everything think I was right. No, I'm just kidding. But they were like you make yourself big. You don't run away. You yell or you throw things toward the animal, near the animal. But like I could have like my instinct is just to be like, well, if it happens, it happens. And I wonder sometimes if that's just my sort of like anarchic, like, the world is chaos sort of approach. Maybe it's partly my depression sometimes too. But like I should probably, for Jessica's anxiety and her sake, because I don't want to die ultimately.
It's great
is to like, I'll Google it to make sure I have it in my head and, that kind of thing. But to answer your question, writing and being creative, like I definitely get that in nature, movement. I definitely need quiet and space to do that thing. And it is certainly easier to do that. I'd imagine, I don't have kids, so I'd imagine it's probably easier to do that sometimes when you don't have kids. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it depends on the person, I guess.
Yeah, it probably depends. I mean, for me, sometimes kids are an inspiration in terms of like an idea or something funny or seeing what makes them laugh, or I don't know. They're very distracting though in terms of actually trying to sit down and write. Like I really couldn't write until Isaac was in school.
Right.
But combo of things, inspiration and also distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned before that you have Isaac, you have one kiddo, and that wasn't necessarily the plan. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So we conceived Isaac very easily. I actually didn't really know about, embarrassingly, I did not know much about ovulation. I didn't know much because I didn't have to know. We got pregnant like the second month. It was kind of a surprise. I thought it would take a bit longer. Didn't time it very well because his birthday is right around Christmas. Sorry, Isaac. But it was a joy. Super exciting, also overwhelming to be a new mom. You feel like you lose a little part of yourself. And then eventually you're ready to start thinking about another one, even though the world asks you like right after you have a child about when your next one is coming, which is super annoying. Don't do that to anybody. Just don't ask, especially if you don't know the person. We started thinking about having another kid when he was about 2, and then we started trying, and then like nothing for a long time. We both got tested. Nothing. Like we couldn't really figure out what the issue was. Eventually, I think we were just diagnosed with secondary infertility without any real good explanation.
What is that? What does that mean? Secondary infertility?
It just means when you can't easily bear another child after your first one. And for me, I like answers. I like science. I like things that are explainable and make sense. And I just wanted someone to tell me I was broken. I just wanted to be like, you're broken. And then I'd be like, okay, that makes sense to me. Moving on. You get your hormones checked and you do all these weird tests involving dye and tubes. And it was not fun.
And everything came back normal from those tests?
Yeah. Everything for me, everything for Kyle. I just really wanted someone to tell me that I wasn't working, because I think that would have made more sense to me than
you have an answer.
Yeah, an answer. I wanted an answer, and I never got one still. And so we'd always talked about like foster adoption or whatever. I don't really want to go too much into that because it's a big rabbit hole, but we tried last year and it didn't go quite as we expected. And it's maybe something we'll think about, in in a few years, maybe when Isaac's a bit older. But Isaac does have anxieties of his own, which we've been dealing with a lot the last year and a half. I think COVID hasn't helped that. So I'm not sure fostering would be great for him at the moment. So it's just been a weird roller coaster of just like being super excited for your other friends to have multiple children, and seeing that like amazing sibling bond that you want to be able to give your child, but then also trying to look at the other side of it, which is what Kyle's also very good at, but always trying to look at maybe we could go traveling way more. We could expose him to more, and he gets to choose his best friends, and he gets to choose those people that he wants to spend his time with when he's older. So it does make me very sad to not have that that sibling. But I know lots of people who don't like their siblings, so there's also that.
But you do.
I do. And I had him, I had my brother a lot growing up to have, that time and space. And it's also hard as a parent because you're the play date a lot of the times. That's right. And it's tiring. My kid has a ton of energy. And he talks a lot. And sometimes I don't want to play. But other times I do. And it's super fun. And we will build like amazing Lego creations. So I think the infertility journey has been humbling and frustrating, and just having to step back on that like lack of control was pretty hard for me. But then I made Kyle get snip snapped. I always think of Michael Scott, snap snip snip snap. It's all very emotional because I could not handle my personal journey. I did not want to have children in my 40s. I did not want to have children a decade apart. So I think for me, it was like too emotional also to like keep wondering if I'm pregnant all the time.
It's a lot.
It was a lot for me. So like, I think 5 years of not knowing what was going on. And like, if I were late sometimes, not knowing if I were pregnant. At one point I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Sorry. That's a lot.
Kyle. Sorry, Kyle.
I'm sure he's fine.
Yes.
That's a lot. That's a lot to hold and carry. And, I'm sorry you had to go through the ups and downs of that. I've spoken to others who have gone through similar things, and there's so much like at play in terms of just the pressure of it, especially the pressure of the woman, the child bearer, right? And that piece of it. And then
I'm Latina. Like we're supposed to have like a billion kids, and
family's this like intrinsic value, and you gotta it's.
I mean, all my cousins had tons of kids without trying, and so you kind of feel like a failure. Like I said, I do like winning. So you do feel like I am broken. Like I'm the only Latina who can't get pregnant with just out looking at a guy, like
you're not a failure and you're not broken. I think it is hard, and it is an experience that, you said, like you said, it allows you to maybe reflect on the control piece, reflect on, what Kyle said in terms of like, maybe we travel more. Maybe, like Isaac chooses his best friends, his, ride or dies, like, and that's change, and that's hard. And it doesn't mean that like your grief is absolved. Like you don't put your grief away and hide it away. It's still there. And it can be this other thing too. But you're not broken. Like very clearly.
Thanks, Don.
I know it's hard. Like it's hard to not have answers, right?
Totally.
But to go back to the ocean, right? Don't have answers there.
This is true.
Right?
This is
we
true.
could be waiting around for the set we want, and maybe that set doesn't come. Maybe a seal comes up and gives us a little kiss. Gives us a little kiss on the face.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be so nice.
That'd be so nice.
Maybe a great white shark eats our feet. Who knows?
It's a good story. You have a good story.
It's a good story. Yeah.
I was, it's weird you talk about grief too, because my dad passed when Isaac wasn't even 3 years old. And I always wonder if that played a lot in my body's inability to like move forward. with burying another kid. I don't know.
Maybe. Grief is a powerful thing. And you lost your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when that happened, and so hard.
Yeah, it was really unexpected. And I think nothing's better. You know, it's not, you know, if he had cancer and you had this like year diagnosis, I don't know if that's any better.
Right.
There's really never, you know, closure, as people say. Always looking for answers, right? Or something more. But I think his grief has triggered, or my grief and his loss has triggered a bit of anxiety about myself dying. I never used to care if I died, that I had a kid. And then I was like, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
And so just having some anxiety around, you know, not wanting to leave my kid.
That's understandable. Because that was the experience you had. You lost your dad.
Like I was old.
Yeah.
I was in my 30s. Like I was 30. 32. How old was I? 32 or something like that. And I thought, if it's this hard losing a parent at this age, what's it look like when you're so young? And so and then Isaac has anxiety now and it's pretty common, I guess, at his age. He's 8, almost 9, about losing a parent. So I'm like, I don't want to die. Whereas before I'm like, yeah, whatever happens, you know, life's been great. I'm lucky.
There's some stakes now.
There's definitely stakes. Yeah. Especially with an only child.
And I think you feel that anxiety and fear and maybe pressure because you love deeply, right?
Yeah.
You love your dad deeply. You love your mom deeply. You love Kyle deeply. You love Isaac deeply. And you're empathetically experiencing the fact that like you experienced that loss too. And you don't want that for Isaac. You don't want that for Kyle, right? Like that's
a
lot to hold. Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't talked to like very openly about any of this, so this is interesting now.
Well, I appreciate you being open about it.
Thanks for having me. Yeah,
the loss of like I haven't experienced loss like that. You know, the thing I equate to, and I'm not like belittling my experience, but you know, losing Scooby was like sort of like the closest thing I can sort of relate to. You know, I've lost like uncles and things like that, but
that's not belittling it, man. Dogs are
no, for sure. But like
they're family.
I think you hit it on the nail on the head when you said there is no closure. Like it will always suck. I think so. I had this beautiful conversation with, and I always bring it up because it's like so resonant to me. So this rabbi Steve Leader, pastor rabbi. He's a combo.
I was like, we're flexible. I like it.
Yeah, he's sort of leading the way in this circle.
I was intrigued.
This pastor rabbi superstar. No, this rabbi Steve Leader wrote this book called The Beauty of What Remains. I highly recommend it.
I'm writing this.
And he talks about how, because he lost his father, and it's about his experience losing his dad, and also sort of the experience of being at the bedside of thousands of people, you know, as a rabbi in his capacity of like their deathbed, right? And he said in his book, and to me in my conversation on this podcast, he said, I used to believe that it will get better, but now I believe that it will always hurt. It will just maybe hurt a little less over time.
That's the truth.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not about better. It's about maybe hurting a little less. Because he was your dad, right? Like Scooby was my dog, right?
Yeah.
Like these are creatures, humans, people in our lives who make lasting impact, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You are your father's daughter. And Scooby birthed me in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
like
so true.
So much transformation, you know, throughout his life. So It's
such a good
fucking
dog.
messy and it's hard.
It is messy. And I think that's, what I've learned about grief is that like some days are just better than others. And it's weird, like the shit that reminds you of that person or that creature, like super surprising things that have really taken me back. Like I had lunch with a friend, a male friend a while back, and so weird. His fingers and his fingernails look just like my dad's.
Wow.
And I had to like go to the bathroom. It was like super strange because I was like, I don't know, like my dad, I felt like had pretty distinct like hands. They were just like very muscular. They were like weird. And when he tickled you, it hurt because they were so strong. And you're like, oh, that hurts. Too strong. But like those moments or things that remind you of that person or creature, like they really like they take me back sometimes because you're just not expecting it, or it's in a moment, or some person has that laugh like them in a coffee shop in a distance, and you're like, what the shit?
Yeah.
And it's so unpredictable. And for me, I think I don't like that.
Interesting.
I like a lot of things being unpredictable, but grief is not fun.
Yeah.
It's usually not in the right space either. You're usually in public or
it would be jarring. Yeah, it would be jarring. Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah. How has your mom been with that experience and since?
Some days better than others. November really sucks for our family. It was my dad's birthday, and then his death anniversary is also in November. So I tend to not like this month too much. I used to love Thanksgiving, but it was like his favorite holiday. My dad loved meat. He loved cooking meat, and he loved hanging out and having dinner. So Thanksgiving was his favorite. He hated Christmas. Hated putting up lights. He used to just like take a string of lights outside, I swear, and just like throw them on a tree and was like, I'm done. Christmas lights are up.
He was no Clark Griswold.
He was the opposite of Clark Griswold. I think he hated the commercialism of it all. And as I get older, my new nickname, actually, I was given this year is Cranksgiving, because I get very mad that Christmas always precedes Thanksgiving now. And I'm like a big purist. Like, can we just celebrate not the genocidal part of it all, but I really just like sitting down. Obviously, I wrote a book about it, having a meal with family that doesn't involve gifts. Like, I just like sitting and eating good food together. Like that is a really special place in my heart. And so now I'm called Cranksgiving because I don't want to see Christmas shit or hear music until after Thanksgiving. I am a purist, and it will never change.
I wouldn't even call yourself a purist. I think that's fair. I think that's a reasonable ask.
Thank you.
Yes, I am on Team Alex.
Thank you. I know. I go to Costco and I feel like it's August. I'm like, no, what is this?
But your dad was right. It's all money. It's all about the money. It's all commercial. Yeah.
Not that I am a minimalist by any means. I've tried. It hasn't worked in our family with a child who likes Lego and in books, but books, I feel like they're fine. I have so many now. But just settling in on what we have in the moment and being grateful is something I am constantly trying to shove down my child's throat. It's not working, but maybe one day.
Yeah, I don't know if like the juxtaposition of that sort of like deep life lesson and the shoving of the throat thing. I don't know if that's
listen to me. No, I shouldn't say that. I say it a lot. I should say it's always like, let's enjoy this moment. Let's be present. And when you're 8, it doesn't seem to resonate as much, and that's okay. One day it will.
It will. I think be consistent, and it will. Yeah. So let's talk about this book, Dinner on Domingos. So for the listeners, Alex wrote this beautiful picture book called Dinner on Domingos. And it's about ritual. It's about coming together with family over food and the experience of a Sunday, of what a Sunday could be within a family. And it's beautiful. And as we're having this conversation too, I'm sort of reflecting on like your experience of sort of living and now that it makes sense that you would write this book is what I'm saying. Cause you do love that sort of ritual of like, let's get together, let's have a meal. This is certainly something, this is a very autobiographical story. Tell me a little bit about like where it all, I mean, I know where it all started, but like the nugget of like when you started thinking, oh, I think I can write this. This feels important to me.
Well, I was writing a lot of nonfiction before. I felt like the market didn't. This was in 2017. The kids market I felt like was very focused on a lot of men, a lot of the same men. I felt like they kept having another biography of this dude, or even of the same women, like Jane Goodall. I love Jane Goodall. She is my absolute childhood hero. But there's a lot of space for other women who've done wonderful things. And I know she's a sell because people know her name, and I get it. But for me, it was like I was doing research on these women that should have made history, but didn't. And I was super excited. And it was actually how I landed an agent right away. It was a series of women that it was called Amazing Women Who Should Have Made History. And I was writing about them and doing tons of research, the first woman to bike around the world, and the woman who contributed math to like build the Eiffel Tower, the first woman who played the first Black woman to play a professional golf game. And and there was just all kinds of cool women. And I'm like, how come I've never heard about these women?
Yeah.
And 2018 was when we tried to sell it, and the market was flooded, quote, flooded with these biographies and series of women. But I still, to this day, have only seen one book about any of these women that I had done research on. And so my agent kind of felt like, this isn't working, we need to step back. And she really wanted me to write nonfiction. At the end of the day, I had invested so much time researching these women that I needed to step back. I'm like, I can't do this right now. And I don't want to do another. She wanted me to do like a nonfiction about this, but just anything that wasn't about women. But that was like my passion. I wasn't just going to write about something to write about it because the market's maybe hot for something. So I stepped back. We ended up amicably breaking up, and I just wanted to write about my abuelita, my grandma, because she was starting to lose her memory. She's 97 right now, and she's definitely doesn't have those sharp memories anymore, which is understandable. So I started writing about like a young girl and her abuelita making locro in the kitchen. And it was kind of boring. It wasn't super dynamic. It was like very dialogue heavy. So then I just started, you writer, draft. And Sunday dinners came to my head, and they were extremely vivid. Like I said, I don't have super vivid memories of things, but for some reason, not for some reason, they made a huge impact on me. They were extremely vivid. And then as I was writing, I realized a lot of my memories were compartmentalized into rooms. And then I kind of just went from there in terms of like this, I don't know what draft it was, that I started breaking them up into rooms. So it had like a very, it was kind of repetitious, this living room is for, and you explain I explained all my memories for that room.
Interesting.
And so those rooms ended up turning into, those memories were so vivid that I was writing it down like, oh, I have to remember this and that, and this is what happened in that room. And I also thought it made it more dynamic for a picture book to weave through a house and kind of explore these different rooms, especially for kids to kind of go through that. And visually, you always, like writing picture books, you always have to think about what's going to be fun or interesting about this page to illustrate. So dinners were really cool in many ways on Sundays, on Domingos, because I had tons of cousins. I had tons of aunts and uncles, and we all showed up, and you just hang out, you spend time together. As you get older, I feel like that's just so precious, like that time to just sit and enjoy a meal together. And I love food. I love eating. And I really believe that food is super connective. And that's why I love cooking so much. I feel like when you make a meal, at least for me, we're not ever sitting in front of a TV. There are no screens. like we're going to sit and we're going to chat. And I always wonder, like, when people don't cook food, like, are you more prone to just eat in front of a TV because you haven't had like the time? And I'm very privileged in the sense that I have time to make food and I have a flexible work schedule, and I really understand the challenges nowadays. People aren't getting paid enough, and both parents are working, and time is it's a crunch for people. And I feel so sad that this is like where our society is now, that people are usually vastly underpaid and don't have the ability to go and get fresh food and sit down and make a meal. Because it takes, it can take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half, depending, how much time you have. So I do understand my privilege in the ability to sit and make a nice home cooked meal. But it's also where my priorities are.
Yeah.
And so I love making a meal because I know we're going to sit down and have a conversation over it.
Tell me a little bit more about the impact of experiencing those domingos, those Sundays, and being a kid. Like, what was the feeling like? Like, what did it feel like?
Chaos. I call it beautiful chaos. Because it really was. And it wasn't just Sundays. My mom always made meals. My mom definitely instilled a love of cooking in me, like just knowing. And my grandma Katona, my dad's mom, was extremely Sicilian and would make like amazing meals. Like you could just pop by and she'd be like, oh, let me just whip something up. And she'd have enough food for like 25 people. I think there's been so many, and it's mostly women in my life who've understood that and have loved doing it. Although my abuelito did cook a lot, especially locro, this potato soup. I'm sorry, I'm like forgetting the question.
No, it's just the impact and like what that experience felt like on those in those sort of chaotic familial spaces.
Yeah. Sorry. It was fun. It was like super exciting knowing you get to play with your cousins and run around and get into some mischief and just have fun and have that time together. You took it for granted. I love this quote from The Office. I wish you'd know you were in the good old days while you were still in them, or something like that. Andy says it. Mm-hmm. And I think the good old days, I think, are in all different like parts of our life. And I think we'll probably look at this time with Isaac being 8 and, funny and curious as like the good old days. But back then, it was so much fun. My cousins and I, like, we don't live very close. We're trying to do like more reunions once a year, but just seeing a lot of my cousins like on an almost weekly basis was pretty cool looking back on it. And just being in that space and having those moments with my aunts and uncles and my abuelita and abuelito, and sharing their love of their homeland through cooking really did, like, it meant a lot to me, because now I cook traditional Ecuadorian food, or I will even cook food from all cultures. We call it like, I don't know, like we're going like traveling, when we'll just like traveling Sundays. We'll make sometimes different meals from different countries. Like we'll talk to Isaac about the country, and then we made like kashari from Egypt, and we'll talk to him about Egypt and like make a meal. So we try to travel without traveling.
That's so fun.
Through food. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been fun. But food does that. And I think that's what's so cool.
Yeah. Food does it because it does have such a rich connection to family, and like we all eat, right? We're all humans. We have to eat to survive. Yes. And then it has this sort of historical perspective, and then this opportunity that you point out, which is so great, this opportunity to reflect on its origin and where it came from and what it means, and its history. And there is so much, as you know, and I think this book is an antidote to that. There's so much in the world that just like we take for granted, right? We just do the thing because that's what we do, right? Mm-hmm. But bringing more awareness to experience, and you mentioned presence and curiosity to our present moments and our experiences, is everything.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And I don't always think you have to travel to really have those experiences. I think that's what's super cool is that, we live in a very wonderfully diverse neighborhood. We have amazing Afghan food and Persian food and El Salvadoran food. And, we can go and enjoy all these things. I don't ever remember doing that growing up. And so I'm really thankful for the place I live, because I do feel like I love our food in Lake Forest. Like I'm always taking people to get a pupusa or to try like bologna. And I really do. I love food, and I love that it's really not so different. Like dumplings are pretty much a staple in lots of different cultures. They're called different things. Rice, I just feel like it's all connective, and it's all similar, but the way origins have reshaped it and kind of created their own dishes, I think is just really interesting. I wish I knew more about the origin of a lot of food and dishes, so I'm trying to learn more. But I love Chef's Table. I think it's such a beautiful series and storytelling and stuff. Yeah. So, yeah.
I'd love to. First of all, I'd love to just get over to your house again and have you cook for me
anytime.
And then second, I think it would be fun. You know how we were doing that reading hour for a period of time during the pandemic.
Yeah.
To maybe sort of combine like a reading hour / we'll rotate it where it can be at different people's houses and one person cooks sort of a new thing.
I love this.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
This. Well, Kyle and I were actually talking about doing Sundays again at our house, Sunday dinner. So an open invite to people. And then just, I think focusing on pizza, doing pizza Sundays, and then having people maybe bring different toppings and kind of mix it up. And also we don't have to do pizza every time, but just having that communal space where people can hang out and eat food and read a book. Even I loved those reading hours. Isaac really loved them too, and wanted to set it up here in his front yard, in our front yard with his friends. So yeah, those mean a lot. I don't think you realize it until they're done, that you really do enjoy those moments together. And it was quiet, and your backyard is magical.
Well, it's being intentional about your time, right? And that's what I appreciated about it. And what I appreciate, that's not a word. What I appreciate about your book, Dinner on Domingos, which listeners can buy at bookshop.org. It's a great place to buy it. Where else can they buy it? Where else would you recommend?
I have people asking me this. I think anywhere books are sold that you feel comfortable buying books. But I ask people maybe to not buy from Amazon.
Yes,
if possible. Local bookstore. So even asking your local bookstore to carry it also helps me out because they might not have known about it. Powell's.com sells my book. There's all sorts of independent bookstores that have their own websites that also carry it. So,
yeah. So listeners, you're all based in different parts of the country and the world. Contact your local bookstore. Tell them that you would like Dinner on Domingos to be featured there or sold there, and then buy it because it's great. And even if you don't have kids, it's a wonderful book, and it's a great gift for the holidays or just for a birthday or whatever. If you don't have a local bookstore near you, again, bookshop.org supports local bookstores as a great resource. And fuck Amazon.
Yeah.
Let's talk about empathy heroes, Alex. This is the part of the show where my guests and I mention someone in our lives who is empathetic, compassionate, feely, etc. I'll go first. It feels like I do this every week, so I have so many empathy heroes apparently, but I have to come up with a new one every time. My empathy hero this week is actually this new band. I knew of them, but I had never really listened to their music, and I'm in this vinyl club. I don't know if you know this.
Very cool.
I'm in vinyl club where there's a theme every month, and we each buy sort of each other a record based on that theme. And last month I got this Country Joe and the Fish compilation, double LP. And these it's psychedelic rock from like I think it's from like 1967. It's very like anti-war, very like pro psychedelics.
Yeah.
Very much me. And it's like, it's so good. It's like, it feels like bluesy rock. It feels like the Beatles at times. It's excellent. So if you ever come over, Alex, I'll play it for you on our record player. It's just so good. And just like sitting down and listening, like when I got it, I listened to it maybe 4 runs straight, just sitting on the couch, listening to it and talk about creating intentional space to just be in a record. It's special. So I'm going to call
what's it called?
The band's Country Joe and the Fish, and I think the compilation album is like, I don't remember exactly what it's called. I'll send it to you after, but the band is just great. Country Joe and the Fish.
Sounds super rad.
Yeah. How about you? Who's your empathy hero?
That's really tough because there's so many people in my life that I admire. I've already talked about my abuelita.
Be just one person either.
And my grandma. Oh, okay. There is one person though, because I do think of her often, and it's Kyle's grandma, actually, Gigi Ellen. I've talked about my other grandmas, but they called her Gigi Ellen. And I think what was super cool about Gigi was that she's pretty progressive for an older woman, which I always admired a lot, but she always like met people right where they were at. She accepted them wholly and fully and loved them just entirely in that space. And everyone always felt super safe being whoever they were with her. And I don't think I want to be that way when I'm older. I do think some people get pretty set on their ways. I've been like struggling as I've been getting older with like this social media and meta and this where we're headed. And I'm like, maybe I'm just turning into a cranky old woman. I'm already Cranksgiving. But Gigi, I thought was just a super cool woman. She was wonderful to be around and just always just met you right there. Like you could always feel safe with her. And I thought that was all of her grandkids felt comfortable telling her anything.
I love that.
I thought that was really fucking cool.
That is cool. Yeah, I love that. Go Gigi Ellen.
Yeah.
So where can I know you're not really a social media person, but where can other people connect with you? Do you have a website? I think you have a website.
I am on social media. I have to be, and I don't hate it. I just, limits. So you can find me at Alexandra Katona, Katona.com. I'm also on Twitter, Alex_Katona C. I am on Instagram, but it's more private. So I think Twitter is the space where I really have connected with a lot of authors and found that writing community, and it's been really wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. So you can connect with me on my website. There's a forum if you want to chat. And yeah, it's where I'm at usually.
Excellent. Well, listeners, those links will be in the show notes for this episode at feelyhuman.co. Alex, thank you, friend, for being here, for showing up in the way that you do, and for writing your beautiful book, Dinner on Domingos.
Thank you so much for having me, Known. I haven't really talked openly about a lot of this stuff, and it's been a real honor to open up and share with you. You're extremely easy to talk to, and I'm just so appreciative of our friendship. Likewise, friend. And to you listeners, as I always say, I'm here, you're here, we're here together on this wayward, overwhelming, awe-inspiring, pale blue dot. We have each other. It's you, me, empathy.